Morning, everybody. Welcome to Thursday's Conscious Coffee. I can't speak. I'm going to start off by saying, and I'll probably say a couple times throughout this Conscious Coffee, that I may get interrupted because almost everybody is home from winter break with their school. So my kindergartner is home today. He's not at school, and him and his little brother are both still sleeping, so we might get interrupted with a great big call from mom or some little munchkin popping in on us here. So just so you know, that might happen. And I am far from conscious. I don't know about you, but I am far, far from conscious. I kind of just got up and I've been sitting here on the couch in my front room drinking coffee, trying to figure out what the heck I was going to talk about. And then all of a sudden I had this title come into my head that life is like living in the wet spot, and I started to kind of chuckle because I just picture, like being a woman, I've been in the wet spot many times, and I was thinking, yeah, that's exactly how life can certainly be in different times. I mean, you can, and there's good and there's bad to that wet spot, right? There's good and there's bad to it. And that's kind of some of the stuff that I would really want to kind of bring up today in Conscious Coffee. And I think that you're going to be able to understand it because of the sexual relationship that I'm going to give it. So here you go. It all started because last night I decided that I was going to stay up late and I was going to get done a whole bunch of things that I needed to get done so that I wouldn't have to do them today and tomorrow. And I've had some procrastination kind of come in for the last couple of days, and I've been very busy also. So right before the holidays, everybody's busy, and then my life too. Busy, all this stuff going on. And so I thought, I'm going to stay up. If I have to stay up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to get this done, I'm going to stay up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to get it done. And I sat here and I typed and I created and I did this and I did that. And out of all of it, I would say that only my banner for my new class that's coming out actually turned out. My write-ups didn't turn out. My article that I started 15 times, I deleted. I was like, no, that's not leaving this space. I did some videos that I'm actually unhappy with, but I'm going to let them be. I can always, add to training stuff. I was just like, I'm not feeling on point. And then I even tried to respond to some clients, and I just could not get in the groove of really feeling them and feeling what they had told me about, and to give them the proper response. So there I sat last night. It's like 1:30 in the morning, and finally I was like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. That's it, I'm going to bed. I sent Addison off some stuff because she's helping me put together this course, and I sent her some stuff, and I was just like, I have to go to bed. I cannot continue just doing what I'm doing here. So I decided that's it, and I went to bed. So it was kind of a non-orgasmic evening, followed up with no sex. So there you have it. That was the topper offer. No sex even on, not that I have sex every single night, but it kind of like, that is the whole gist of that picture there, is that it was really non-orgasmic in every way. Now, I think I just needed some sleep. I needed to wake up, get back into my flow, kind of drop things down, feel into things, get some organization done, and tackle today. Today could potentially go exactly the same as last night if I don't do some of the things that I need to do. And here's where my little tale of life is like living in the wet spot comes in. Because in our intimacy, sharing with our lover, with our partner, when we're making love, when we're having sex, we end up, just a second, somebody's trying to pop in here. We end up often just dealing with the mechanics of it. I mean, I see so many times through the years of being a sex and relationship coach, I have seen so many couples, so many people that are just going, but I don't really feel my partner. I don't feel like my partner's connecting to me. I don't know how to connect to my partner. They get caught up on the mechanics of it, and they miss the true point of the intimacy. Intimacy being the reason why we use the word intimacy to say sex, like it's our go-to word. Instead of saying sex or fucking or this or that, we'll say lovemaking. We'll say I want to share intimacy with you. Are we going to be intimate tonight? Well, when we say are we going to be intimate tonight, that is a reference to not the physical mechanics of it, but to the actual feeling of it. So to drop down into our body and to truly be able to connect, to be intimate with somebody else. Hey, good morning, Mohammed. Good morning, Katie. To truly be intimate with somebody else. And that means that we have to be vulnerable. That means that we have to open up. That means that we have to surrender. That means that we have to be willing to let ourselves be seen and to also experience our partner in that moment. Otherwise, we're just having sex. It's just about the mechanics. It's just two bodies coming together. It's an in and out motion. It's actually really boring. Like really, really boring. Sex can be boring. Well, living in the wet spot, I mean, what happens in our life? What happens in our life? The picture that I just described to you of me last night, well, I was stuck in the mechanics of it. I was not dropping down into my heart. I was not feeling into my soul alignment. I was not breathing in the moment. There was no creative flow truly coming into me. I had just a drop of it. No creative flow. So that's kind of like, I'm going to relate to us women out there, because us women we are the receivers in our sexing. So as the receiver, we're the one who's being penetrated. We're the one who is needing to surrender even more. We're the one who is needing to open up. We are the creative space for everything to happen, right? So for us to truly be that creative space, if we get caught up in the mechanics, our bodies are more closed off. We're not going to feel into our heart. We're going to be up in our mind. We're going to be thinking a lot. We're going to just be about the friction of it, the mechanics of it, the position of it, like, is he doing this technique right? And we're going to just want to get off, okay? So if we're just wanting to get off, then we're really stuck on the 1, 2, 3s and the goal. That has nothing to do with flow. That has nothing to do with really receiving or opening up. So just like my story of me not being able to get to that creative flow last night, was getting stuck into the mechanics. Was like I sat here, and as I was writing and I was trying to create, I had probably 1,001 thoughts about my worthiness, about, like I love my life, but I've got these goals, and what do I need to do right now to achieve the goals, and why isn't this happening, and why isn't this working, and are my kids gonna be happy for Christmas, what am I gonna do with this relationship, what am I gonna do here, should I, oh man, I didn't work out for a couple days, so maybe there's some issues there, all this stuff. I had like bam, 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 bam. All these thoughts, none of which related to what I was actually doing. And when I did try to target into what I was doing, okay, so like in our sex, ladies, in our sex, if we're trying to target into what we're doing, we try to open up, typically we might experience a whole bunch of thoughts as to why aren't you opening? Why aren't you feeling? Is he doing that right? What's wrong with me? I don't think I'm orgasmic. This is just pointless. Maybe we should just get it over with, blah, 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 blah. That's the exact same thing that I was experiencing in my creative lack of flow last night. And that creative lack of flow was just showing that I was not embodying myself. So I was trying to push through to force something to happen. And yeah, I guess I achieved the wet spot. On the other side of things, I did get a couple things created. I'm not necessarily overly ecstatic about it. I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel complete. I don't feel seen. I don't feel felt. I got the wet spot, right? Because I have some proof that something happened. And much like in our sex, what's the wet spot? The wet spot's showing, oh, well, somebody came. Somebody came. Might have not been me, but somebody came. Was it even good? Do you feel seen? Do you feel felt? Did you connect? Was there true intimacy there? And that is the exact same thing that, you know, we experience in other parts of our life, because it really is just a little bit of evidence of like something happened. Doesn't mean it was good. Doesn't mean that you really wanted it, or you really enjoyed it, or you really dropped down, or you really felt in alignment to it, you fell in love with it. So I bring this topic to you in this format of the wet spot because it's funny, because it's goofy, but at the same time, I know that plenty of you out there have had these wet spots, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's a meh experience at best, and that quite often can be most of our sexing, most of our creative juices, and we tend to maybe want to push through and force things to happen, and we're trying to do that when we're not in alignment to it. So it's like giving your partner duty sex, but you're just not in alignment to it, and instead just saying, no, I'm not in alignment to that right now. I'm really just not turned on to that. I'm not in the flow of it. I'm not feeling connected. I'm not feeling like I want to have this intimacy with you right now. I'm just not feeling it. And what? We get told there's the whole story of, you know, the woman who's, oh, I've got a headache. Oh, it's that time of the month. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And using different things as excuses to not have sex. Well, if she's really not in the mood for it, if she's really not wanting it, then why should she have to have it? Why should any of us have to do something that we really truly are not in alignment to? In our sex, or in our creation work, in our passion, in our purpose. Yes, there are things in life that we have to do because they have to get done, and we may not be a fuck yes to them all the time. There's plenty of things like that. Like, you may not be like, oh yeah, fuck yes, I'm going to pay my power bill. Oh yeah, fuck yes, I'm so excited. I'm going to, do this, I'm going to do that, and it's normally like debt related or responsibility related. We kind of get caught up on that. But when we come down to alignment and everything, and those pictures that make up the rest of our life, which actually make up like 85 to 90% of our day, of our life, those things we really need to be a fuck yes to. We need to be a fuck yes to the people in our life. We need to be a fuck yes to the things that are driving us forward. If you hate your fucking job, there's a problem, and it's going to start causing issues in other areas of your life. If you're really out of alignment with your partner and you're just completely disconnected to them, maybe you really actually dislike them, maybe there's a whole bunch of challenges there, maybe you feel unsafe with your partner. That is a bigger challenge. You can't just keep pushing. You can keep pushing through, but you're never going to get happiness from a negative situation. You can never get into alignment by continuing to do the things that keep you out of alignment. And at some point you have to say, no, these actions are keeping me out of alignment. And if I just keep pushing on them, it's not going to change. That's the definition of insanity, to try to do something over and over again and expect a different result. No, if you are getting that and you are doing that, then the same result is going to be there. If that person, that experience, that motion that you're doing is causing you to be low vibe, well, guess what? Next week it's probably going to cause you to be low vibe too if you're that out of alignment to it. If it's really a fuck no, then get right with that fuck no. And you know what? You don't always have to go out there and try to create the wet spot, right? It's not about the wet spot. It's not about, yay, somebody came. Yay, I have evidence that something happened here. Yay, yeah, I had sex. Well, I don't care. Nobody gives a shit if you've had sex or not. Nobody gives a shit if you've done the work that you need to do with your business, with your job, if how you're going about living your life. Those details, those are personal details. That's why it comes back to personal alignment. So get your head out of the goal, out of of the goal, out of the evidence of, I just need to prove that something happened here. You don't need to prove shit. You don't have to prove shit. All that you need to do is feel good. Feel good about the decisions that you're making. Feel good about the people that you're with. Feel good about the events that are taking place in your life. Get into alignment there. What makes you smile? What makes you happy? What brings you into a state of joy, a state of bliss? And then, if a wet spot happens, well, then it's probably going to be a really fun wet spot. It's probably going to be a really good wet spot. It probably didn't just happen. It wasn't a slam bam thank you ma'am wet spot. It probably was an opening, a surrender. It's like that really, really good moment when you're deeply connecting with somebody, when you're really there and you feel yourself completely opening up. Just expansive opening taking place. Your body moves into a more open position. Your heart opens up. Your sex opens up. Your voice opens up. Your thoughts are not constant. You actually have this space of just clarity, beauty, experience, surrender. And when we surrender to that flow, which means that we are opening up and we surrender to ourselves and we experience that intimacy with ourselves, we're also igniting ourselves. We're also getting into this space where we are not just forcing creation, but creation is moving through us. People are coming for morning coffee. So, as we get into that space of creation, that's where we can really truly tap in and experience all the beauty, all the joy. So I hope that kind of explains. I know it's kind of a silly little tagline here as to, title and about that, but I don't know why I was thinking about wet spots this morning. But I didn't wake up in a wet spot, but for whatever reason, that's what came through. I was thinking about wet spots. I was just thinking about all the wet spots in my life that I've not been happy with, that I've allowed to happen, and I really didn't enjoy. I really didn't feel felt or seen. I really didn't connect. I really didn't get into flow, and I sure the fuck wasn't orgasmic. So those wet spots. Time out. Goodbye to my kid. Bye. Somebody going to school. So those wet spots, I don't really want to ever repeat those. I don't want to have a whole bunch of those in my life, and I certainly hope that you don't want to have a whole bunch of those in your life. But it is important to kind of pay attention and see where those are, and if you can, tap back into what might you have been thinking. What were your reasons for allowing those things to happen? And and I'm not just talking about the bedroom here, because there's plenty of things that maybe you got a job and maybe you got promoted and you took the promotion because you were like, I need the money, right? And it's a nice title, but now you have zero time for family. You have zero time for personal care. You have zero time for the people in your life. You have zero time. Maybe you're single and you're a workaholic and there's no time in your life to meet other people. So how are you ever going to meet somebody, let alone have a relationship with them? I know plenty of people like that. I have an old boyfriend who has that exact scenario, and we have spent years, we can't even get together for coffee because of work schedule. And it's just one of those things that, it's like just constant. And when given that space of there not being any space, then you have to question yourself, because maybe you have proof, maybe you have evidence that there's something happening here. Maybe you've got a nice paycheck. Maybe you're like, I'm employed, I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I make this much money, yay. But if that is taking up everything in your world, in your life, how much joy, how much happiness do you really have? Where is your connection to community, to loved ones, to to your intimate partner, or being able to have a partner, to, you know, to yourself? How are you being able to take care of yourself in that moment? What if you are, another one might be that you might go, oh yeah, I'm in a relationship, and let's say you've been dating somebody for a while and they ask you to marry them, and you're like, okay, I'll say yes to that. But you notice that this person is extremely needy, is extremely, you know, like, really just wants to take up all space in your life. So you have to ask yourself, is it really truly worth it? But maybe you go, well, I don't want to be alone. I don't like being alone. I don't like being lonely. I want somebody around me, and, you know, this person cares about me. They love me. There's this, there's that. But then you realize that there's this little thought in the back of your head of, if I say yes, if I do this, then this person is completely going to take up every aspect of my life. So then you got yourself in a situation where you're saying yes when you actually need to be a no, because that would be a yes to you, even though it's a no to them. And then you find yourself going, okay, yes, sure, we can do that. Yes, yes, yes. And now your whole life is taken up by somebody else's goals, dreams, and desires, what they're wanting 100%. And where do you go? Where do you go? You just kind of vanish, right? And what happens in so many different relationships, we lose ourselves in the relationship because of that kind of shit right there. Because we completely give ourselves over, and there is no more us there. It is all about the us, not the me and you and us. So the healthiest relationships are the relationships where two individuals stay individuals and have their own lives, their own goals, their own this, their own that, and then they come together and they build a life together as two individuals, powerful individuals that don't need each other, that are coming together with respect, with boundaries, with honor to each other, and understanding that they don't need to always be like this. And then guess what? They can deal with loneliness as well, because loneliness is just part of life. Sometimes we get lonely, and there's a big difference between loneliness and being alone. So loneliness is all a thought. That's all it is. It's just a thought. And that's just seeping down another path that we'll talk about another day. But just look at where in life are you allowing these wet spots to happen and they're not actually giving back anything to you. If you're just having that, if they're just manifesting in your life as evidence that something happened here, ask yourself what that something is, and were you really truly on board with it? Were you really a fuck yes to it? Because if you notice that you've got a whole bunch of these little evidence spots, you know, like all these little markings around, and there's, you know, not any feel good, any good connection, it's kind of like, God, that's just me giving myself again. It's just me giving myself again. This is me giving myself over again and again and again. What do we feel? We feel used in those moments. We feel like the doormat in those spaces. We feel almost as though we are being raped in some way, because we are raping ourselves in those moments, because we are giving ourselves over to everybody else's well-being, good, and cause. And the biggest reason why we do that is because we don't want to be selfish. We don't want to be selfish. And guess what, guys? If you want to have that fuck yes life, then you've got to get a little bit selfish. So, okay, I think I'm at completion. There. Yeah, well, as always, you can always follow me at www.kendalwilliams.com. Time out, saying goodbye to another person. Bye, Zach. All right. My 19-year-old son, he lives next door with his sister and her fiance, and he rents a room from them, and so he comes over every morning. He comes in my back door, and he comes in for a cup of coffee because I have a Keurig maker. So he comes in, he makes a coffee, and then he walks through my house, out my front door, and gets in his Uber to go to work. So he starts like sneaking through like a little church mouse and trying not to like interrupt Mom during her conscious coffee, but giving me these looks because he's listening to the whole conversation. He's in the kitchen. You should have seen him. He was like walking around over there making eyes because I'm talking about sex this morning, talking about wet spots. So he was just like, what the heck? Theodore. Theodore, I will read the rest of your response as soon as I'm off of here, because if I click the see more, it messes up everything, just so you know. But good morning to you, and I see that you're like who you are, which is really, really good. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just kind of important to really focus in on, you know, especially as we move into, I think the beginning of a new year, the ending of an old year is one of those things where we start to kind of take more observation around our life, around what we have done over the last year for sure, and what we want to do, which is why New Year's resolutions come about, right? We make these New Year's resolutions and we talk about, I'm going to get healthy, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it lasts for about 3 weeks. And then life kicks in, and then another year goes by, right? And then we make New Year's resolutions again. And if you look back through your years and you look back at those New Year's resolutions, and you look at the life that you created from those New Year's resolutions, or the lack of doing those New Year's resolutions, how many wet spots did you have throughout the year that were not ones that you wanted to create, right? Or just ones that were like, okay, yeah, so I did that. And maybe they, like I said, maybe some of them you thought that it was a good idea, but the end result of it was that it really wasn't a good idea, because it ate up all your time, it ate up all your space, it you know, overtook you emotionally, and you just needed to pull back a little bit. And I think that that's one of the key things here, is that if you have all these evidence spots of, yeah, I've got a relationship, yeah, I've got a house, yeah, I've got a job, yeah, I make this much money, but you're not happy with it, a lot of the times what we end up doing is we go, well, I'm not happy with that, but I'm going to stick with it, right? Because at least it's better to have something than nothing. It's better to have something than nothing. And that's just fucking bullshit. That is just fucking bullshit, because if your something is not feeding you, is actually draining your ass, and you're not in alignment to it, then it's going to cause a lot of nothing and a lot of negativity to start to manifest in your life, because you're not turned on to it anymore. You're not really wanting what you have. So you're going to start to feel negative charges in your body. You may start to have physical ailments arise. You may feel more fatigued. You may have more headaches. There might be more arguing taking place. Your body, everything inside of you is just going to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. So when that comes on, and there's just, and it can be little switches that you need to make. It's not always that you have to drop something, you know, hot potato it and just go, I'm done. No, you might need to make little shifts, but you need to at least be able to ask for those changes to alter the scenario a little bit more too, so that you can hang out with it. Otherwise, it's gonna blow up anyway. So it's kind of like, get in there, and either it blows up and you figure it out and you move forward and you go do something that's better for you, and hey, you've learned, now you can just go and do something better, find somebody that's more in alignment to you, find a job that's more in alignment to you, what have you. Or those little shifts are going to be able to take place. You're going to be able to work it out, and the people that you are, because it's always other people, right, that we're working with here, those other people can help you to make those shifts, and they'll understand, and they will love you enough in the situation, or be able to work with you enough in the situation for you to make those shifts, so that you can actually get things more into alignment to where you're at. Because the longer you stay out of alignment, the more negative charge and force you're going to have around you. And that is one of the biggest issues in you know, doing conscious creation work, is that what we're living right now in this moment, we created from the thoughts, feelings, and actions of yesterday, a month ago, 3 months ago, okay? And now we've got it manifesting around us, and the evidence is showing up. And maybe some of those old programs that we've had for a whole lifetime consistently show up in our life. Well, they're just presenting evidence to us that that's the way it is, right? So then we're looking for the evidence, it's presenting itself, so then we just think that that's the way it is, that we have to accept that because that's just the way it is. And that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. If you want to change it, then you've got to start with, like, hey, I'm not in alignment here, I'm not in alignment here. But realize that, yes, that initial change and that initial vocalization of I'm not in alignment is going to cause a stir. It's going to rock your boat, okay? It might tip your boat over, but it's better to have that happen and you be the force that does it than to move down that path and have your boat fully flipped over and broken apart by a storm that you didn't see coming because you were trying to manage something that was not on your path, your best, highest and best path anyway. And our spirits, our souls will get us into situations where we end up tipping our whole boat over and just wrecking it if we don't get into alignment in a softer fashion. So what I'm presenting here is just the concept of, looking at those little things, those little wet spots, as I'm referring to them this morning, where little things of evidence are showing up, but they may not always be in alignment to what you wanted. You may not always have been turned on to it. You may have not always had like this opening experience, opening, vulnerable, surrendering experience of soul alignment, of feel good, that expansiveness. And you want more of that expansiveness, because in that expansiveness is where creation happens, is where manifestation happens. That's where you find your flow. That's where you really tap in. And when you're not tapping in, you have to go pause. Like me last night, right? I'm like trying to force flow to happen. I was trying to force creation to happen because I had my goals, because I told myself all week long, I've told myself, you've got to get this done. You've got to get this done. Oh my gosh, the timeline you gave yourself is coming up on the bar. So you've got to get this done. And then I just hit this wall and I'm trying to force it. I'm trying to force it. And thank God I didn't publish most of it, because if I had published, it would have been shit. It would have been total shit. And guess what? That would have been putting shit out to you guys. I would have been putting shit out to my clients. And I wouldn't have felt very good about presenting that kind of stuff. It's one thing to be raw. It's one thing to just kind of show up and let you see me without makeup on, without my hair done, without my teeth brushed, 5 minutes after I wake up and I'm blowing and going, because there's that rawness there. It's a completely different thing to put out crappy content just because I'm trying to create something, because I have this pressure on me, which is self-induced pressure to try to get something done that is out of flow. Okay, that is out of flow. And you really want to, if you want to have everything aligned to you, if you want to be in this experience of alignment where the world just opens up to you and it's magical and things are just coming in and like, holy fuck, look at all these blessings. Well, if you really want that holy fuck, look at all these blessings moment, you got to get into alignment. You got to get into alignment, because you could look at it like God is there with a great big bucket of blessings and he is trying to dump it on us. Okay, God's trying to dump his blessings on us, but we're standing there with an umbrella and we're going, no, I'm not going to take the blessings, because I've got to pick up all this trash right here on the floor, and I'll take the blessings as soon as I get this little task done right here. Take that. Well, meanwhile, the stuff that we wanted is just kind of like pouring down around us, and we're missing it. We're missing it because we're so focused in on these little things that feel like humongous things to us, and we're trying to force one action to happen, thinking that it's going to move us to this greater thing, because at the end of the day, we all want the blessings. We all want the happiness. We all want the joy. We all want the connection. Okay? We all want that. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we make the choices that we make, because we are selfish, because we are greedy, because we do want it for ourselves, but we're just too scared to say it, because, oh my God, that's going to make us a bad person. Oh my God, if I actually ask for what I want, if I actually open up to that flow, if I actually receive, if I actually go, no, I'm not going to do that for you because I don't have the time to do that. No, I actually need the next 2 hours to really focus in on me. No, I really do need my kids to go here so that I can go work out, so that I can have this done. No, I really do need to hire a house cleaner, because that's an hour a day or an hour a week that I could be putting towards taking my kids out on a date versus cleaning my house. I could delegate that off to somebody else and help them by them helping me. We have so many spots in our life where we try to present an image. We try to put forth this us that we feel is is what the world needs to see, and that is more important than the expression of our true self. Our essence is all we ever need to reveal that truth and to state it in the most authentic fashion that we can. That doesn't mean to be a rude asshole. No, that doesn't mean to just, be mean to people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just being open, to let your heart be seen. You know what? If you're in soul alignment and if you're in your heart space, then you're not going to be in a mean space, okay? You're going to be in the love space, and love is not going to come out and try to hurt anybody. I get that comment all the time. Well, I just told people the way I really feel. That's your fucking ego, okay? That's your ego that is talking right there. If you just really told people how you feel, you probably would be a pretty damn compassionate sweetheart of a person that just wants to experience love and give love. And I think that at our core, all of us have that piece. It's just really, really buried by life and by the things that we have experienced and the attitudes that we have been taught. And getting taught those attitudes just kind of keeps everything under. And then we get told that if we act in any way that is for ourselves or just stating a no, that's not okay, that that's selfish, that that's wrong. But that kind of selfish move is going to move you into alignment, where saying yes when you mean no is going to keep you out of alignment and going to give you a wet spot maybe, but you're probably going to be bitter about that wet spot. And much like so many relationships where these wet spots happen, and there might even be you might even be able to see markings on the bed all day long if you don't do your sheets, right? You might see these markings. There might be all this stuff that happened, and you might have the perception that something really yummy and great happened there, that some great connection, some great intimacy happened. But if both parties were on board and weren't a true yes to it, then there's actually bitterness, there's actually trauma, there's actually pain that happened there. And that's never going to lead you to your dreams, your desires, your wants, and living the life that you want to have. And that's truly my message here, is that that's not just a sexual experience. That happens in our work life, that happens in our family life, that happens with our friends, that happens with our connections, that happens with our health, that happens with building a business. It happens with every aspect of our life. And just because you might have the evidence of showing, oh yes, I appear to be a good person, I appear to be responsible, I appear to be this, I appear to be that, I appear. Appearances really don't fucking matter on this at all. It's more about the wet spot that is making you happy, that is truly opening you up to life, that is fucking you wide open. And that's what you want, because there is where that alignment, that connection, that flow, and all the blessings are at. So, okay guys, I guess I kind of was not done. I thought I was done, thought I had hit completion, and then whoop, all that happened. So, yeah, okay. Well then, I am going to go off and get done when I get done today. I do have my goals. I hope you have your goals. Goals are important, schedules are important, but you got to have some flow in there too. And I will be back tomorrow morning with Conscious Coffee as well. Like I've been telling everybody, Conscious Coffee is going to make it every single day to the new year until school kind of picks up, and then I'll go back on my what's become my normal schedule again of Conscious Coffee 5 days a week and 2 days off. But as always, you can follow me at www.kendalwilliams.com. You can also follow me here on my coaching page. You can follow me, of course, on my profile page, which is where this is gets done first. And I'm also putting it on YouTube. So if you have a YouTube, I would love for you to follow me on YouTube. I'm trying to build up my subscriptions there. Feel free to go over and find that as well. There's Conscious Coffees, Free Spirit Talks with Addison Bell are on there. There's a whole bunch of training videos that are on there as well. Different things from little bleeps that I've done all around the world talking about sex, relationship, intimacies, business, it all. That's all over there as well on YouTube, kind kind of I'm working on the channel over there, getting it all put together. So as we come into this new year, there's a lot of different changes. And then one other really important thing, you're going to be seeing a couple courses coming out. I've got some great courses coming out. One that I am going to try to get launched, which is what I was trying to do last night. I'm going to pre-launch this right now to you guys because I think that's valuable. I don't even know how much it costs yet though, so there you go. Flying by the seat of my pants here. And it's called His, Hers, and Ours. There are 69. That was not on purpose, by the way. That was not on purpose that it ended up being 69 trainings. But I counted them last night. I was sitting there, I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 69 trainings on how to have the relationship of your dreams. And this is designed, it's all video content. There's very little written content. So unlike a lot of my courses where it's either 50-50, or I have one course that I just put out which is mostly written content, this one is all video content. So it is little videos that go from anywhere from 3 to 20 minutes long, and it is talking to, there's a segment for just men, to understand sex, to understand women, to understand intimacy and relationship. There's a section for just women, and it is, again, to understand sex, to understand men, to understand intimacy and relationship. And then there is a section called Ours for the couple. So it's got all the couple stuff in there. So if you are a single person that wants to be in a couplehood, this is going to be a great little online workshop that you can get in there, and you can just study your section. You can kind of get a viewpoint of like what the other, if you want to listen to the opposite sexes videos, go for it, because it actually is very educational to kind of understand both sides of that. And then, of course, to work through the couple stuff as well. So 69 videos, video trainings on how to create the relationship of your dreams. So that's His, Hers, and Ours. That's going to be coming out hopefully by Christmas Eve is my goal, to launch that to you guys and get that out for end of the year special, so that you can hit the new year focusing in on some of the most important things in your life, which is relationship based. And of course, we all want more sex. We all want better sex. We all want deeper intimacy. We all want to be in love. We want to find love. We want to have the one appear in our life. We want to have all this different stuff. And thank you very much. Addison just posted a link there, and it will be here once it launches. So that is definitely something to look forward to. I guarantee that I will be putting that out in video format and in written content for you as soon as possible. So look for His, Hers, and Ours. Also, I'm doing a Boss 500 special for January, which means that you're going to get intensive one-on-one coaching with me over the phone. It does not matter where you're at in the world. We're going to be doing one-on-one coaching for just $500. So you're going to get a whole month's worth of deep dive coaching with me for just $500. That's more like a value. What I'm giving away is more like a value of $2,000 for $500, and that is really going to be focused in on exactly what you are wanting in your life. So to become, the reason it's called Boss 500 is because I'm going to be focusing in on particular areas of your life, 1 to 3 areas of your life, to really move you forwards for you to become the boss of your life. That's a great way to start the year, guys. I mean, January is all about creating goals and stuff, but why not just take action, get in there, have somebody by your side, and to really kick your ass and move you through that month of January, so that your next 90 days, your next 6 months, your next 12 months can be absolutely fucking killer, instead of just meh, and just not that great, right? So let's get your groove on for the new year with Boss 500. If you are wanting also anything else, of course, you can always go to www.kendalwilliams.com, where I have tons and tons of programs. And Addison's been so kind to put the link to the program page there as well. So if you click on any of that, you will find it. Programs, online coaching, all that good stuff. Tons launching. Really exciting times. So I will catch you tomorrow morning with more conscious coffee. I don't think I really need more coffee, but I'm going to go make another cup of coffee, and I will see you tomorrow. As always, if this video impacted you at all, if you thought of somebody that might need to hear about the wet spots in their life, please feel free to hit the share button. Help me promote conscious coffee, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. As always, stop existing, start living.